We have special guests on the phone this morning to talk to you about the SBA situation and what is happening in our community and how we can take advantage. Joining us right now, we have the Chief Operating Officer of WiseSource HR Payroll. They do back office administration and employment support for medium-sized companies. She's got 25 years of experience in the employment sector, helping small businesses of all kinds and working with government legislation, bills, rules, regulations, publications, and implementing public policy. It's Radio Free 102.3 KJLH, Compton, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Inglewood. Cassandra Lattin, welcome to the show. Cassandra, are you there?
I am here, Dominique. Good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed. Welcome, welcome.
Yes, I've been listening to you this morning. Awesome.
Thank you. Just trying to make sure that we, instead of just talking about these resources, that we access them. And I think that's one of the reasons you're here this morning is, a lot of times our small businesses in our community don't get the help, right?
Absolutely. A lot of small businesses in our community, minority communities, and most of the smallest businesses are not, receiving the help and the support that they need. That really need it. The problem with the small business is that is the SBA definition. It has folks all over the board. The SBA definition defines small businesses as companies that have 500 employees or less, and they could be more employees depending on their NAICS code, their NAICS code, and also the amount of money that they're making and the industry that they're in. So it puts companies, small restaurants, and the companies that, of course, you'll hear the president and everyone will say the mom and pop stores, the nail shops, just the smaller companies. It puts them in league with those larger companies in the banking situation and also in funding situations and trying to identify resources. And of course, we know that when you're trying to get a loan, folks that can actually get a loan are people who really don't need a loan. You have excellent credit and you already have money, so you really can't get those. You don't have the same level of access. And so that's, my thoughts and my personal thoughts and ideas, and I don't want to go get too deep into that. I did want to kind of share some information that I have been studying, and I've identified some resources and some things to try to help these smaller companies, particularly African-American-owned, small women-owned, small minority-owned companies, to be able to try and compete for these dollars. As you indicated this morning, those funds are going to be going out at about 7:30 California time. They've already rolled out in the East Coast.
Wow. All right, let me bring another voice in here so we can have both of you, and I want to encourage people to call if they have questions as well at 520-KJLH. Joining us, and you know her, she's your friend, founder of Wealth Management Financial Advisors. She does credit restoration, loan modification, personal financial counseling, and more. Marie Deary, good morning. Marie, are you there? Okay, maybe we don't have Marie Deary on the phone. We'll have her momentarily. So you're saying...
Dominique.
There she is. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So, Cassandra, you were just saying that these have already rolled out on the East Coast. So does that mean they have an advantage?
Well, what that means is the country is on different time zones.
Well, yeah, that's obvious. But I mean, it sounds like it gives them an advantage if this is first come, first serve.
Put that out for me.
Yeah, it gives them, of course, it's going to give them a certain level of advantage. But the way the money is supposed to be allocated this time, it's supposed to be allocated a little more fairly. So we know that originally, if you don't mind, originally under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, they call it the CARES Act, there was $349 billion for forgivable small business loans, and that was referred to as the Paycheck Protection Program. That was in the first round. It was administered through the SBA and authorized to provide loans to pay for 8 weeks of employee salaries, health benefits, their rents, and so forth and so on. That was the original intent of the loan. It's about $350 billion, 349, you round it up to about $350 billion. It was set aside for low-interest loans to small businesses, exhausted within 13 days. Every dollar was gone. The SBA data supported that a lot of the approved funds have been earmarked for larger small businesses. The average loan size approved was about $239,000. That was according to the SBA data. So small companies that didn't have those types of dollars moving through the banks did not have that same level of access. Now, the Treasury Department, according to the Treasury Department, they said regardless of if you had filed a 2019 tax return with the IRS, you had to provide, for small companies, that they can provide their Form 1040 Schedule C with their loan applications. That became a little bit of, so they said if you don't have any employees, you cannot report payroll costs if you don't have any employees. But you were eligible for the loan according to the definition. You were eligible for the loan, and you needed to just report your net business income that you reported on your Schedule C. Well, pause here. A lot of companies went into the banks, their banking and organizations, and the banks told them, you're not qualified for that because you don't have any employees. Told them they couldn't even apply. They were turned away, couldn't even apply. My gut feeling on this, it was that because it went out so fast, there was no clear guidance given. So what they tried to do this time was they tried to put a little more guidance out there. And they tried to make it a little bit easier for the small businesses to get access to those funds and those dollars. So your salary, the salary for the smaller companies is going to be determined by looking at the net profits listed on the Schedule C. If you've not filed your 2019 taxes, you still need to fill out your Schedule C in order to qualify for the PPP.
We're going to go down. We're going to go down into those finer details, and we're going to take people's phone calls. 520-KJLH, 520-5554. Like to give it to people in bite-size amounts so they don't get completely overwhelmed. But you're saying, obviously, it sounds like they have to be up to date on their taxes in order to apply for this. Right, Marie? Marie, are you there?
Okay, yes, I'm here, Dominic.
Okay, you got to talk when I talk. I know you're used to being in the studio with us, and it's a little harder with the physical distancing, but yeah. So they have to be up to date on their taxes. What else do they need paperwork-wise to be ready for today? And could they do it just that quickly, like they'd have between now and, I guess, this morning to get their paperwork filed if they haven't?
Well, remember, anyone that have gotten a 1099, let's say they got a 1099 last year, they got a 1099 this year. Anyone that received a 1099, a Schedule C will be generated. So the taxpayer may not know about the Schedule C, but remember, if you received a 1099 from anyone that you did work with, your tax person should have generated a Schedule C on your behalf. And if someone need a Schedule C, definitely they can call me. I can hurry up and do their taxes because I feel very passionate about this. I feel that there's too many small businesses, like we know them, that are struggling, that need the help and they're not getting it simply because I believe they do not understand the requirements. That PPP loan is taxing for most small business. And if you do not have someone that's guiding you, like Cassandra, it's almost impossible because when they start asking for things like the 940 and the 941, if you do not have employees, Cassandra, what do you do?
If a company does not have employees, they really need to produce their 1099s, as you said, and they also need to produce whatever type of tax form that they have had. I also suggest that they do a small write-up about their income, how they were acquiring income, and how this virus and how this shutdown impacted that income that they were previously receiving. Just a really short, simple one paragraph, so that you're going in and showing that you are a business owner and this is what you do and this is what happened.
Okay, so it sounds like a lot more people may be qualified for this SBA loan that's coming up today than we thought. Just reading about it, hearing about it on the news. It sounds like, the big corporations obviously knew that, because when I was reading about it, I thought it was for people with 50 employees or less, but that you did have to have employees, something that would be considered a small business. And then we found out about, all these huge corporations that got money, places like Shake Shack, which is giving the money back. But there are quite a few that are saying that they're not giving the money back, because even though they're publicly traded companies, they're saying they don't have access to other capital, so they still need this money and they qualify for it. So it sounds like a lot more people are actually eligible on the small business side than we thought too, right?
Dominique, you are absolutely 100% right. The small businesses were even qualified during the first round, but because of a miscommunication, a lack of understanding between the banks, the businesses, all of us in the country, they just didn't really realize that. But the companies in round two, the key update to the legislation in round two is that they laid out $30 billion of the new $310 billion for payroll protection funds. It's going to credit unions and lenders that have less than $10 billion in assets, while another $30 billion will go to institutes with between $10 to $50 billion in assets. This means that money will be specifically set aside for the smaller institutions, and it's going to be easier for the small companies to gain access to those loans. It should be easier for them to gain access to those loans rather than going to the large banks and getting turned away. But we have to move quickly. And you identified a few resources this morning for folks to kind of call, go online and get some information. I put together the resources for all of the lenders that are certified in California where money is supposed to be accessible. So I am going to make that available to you, Dominique and Marie, for your listeners and for the folks that you actually support. So it's just in a simple format. Just pulled it out, names, email addresses, and I'll get that over to Dorian and to you also, Marie.
Excellent. We can post that. We post it at KJLHradio.com so people can get access. If you have a small business and you think you might qualify, or you didn't know you did, or maybe you tried last time and you didn't get that loan, give us a call right now. Marie and Cassandra can answer your questions. 520-KJLH. Just add an area code 520-5554 out of 310-213 and 818. You've got free help right here, right now, and counseling around this. And Cassandra, you mentioned the banks, and in my impression, what I'm reading is that a lot of these banks just basically help their favorite customers, their best customers, which means the ones with a lot of money. And as someone was complaining to me, they want you to have a relationship with your bank, but a lot of the banking is done online now. And when you go into a branch, it's almost like they don't want you to talk to a person. They want you to go and use the automated teller even when you're standing in the bank. So for smaller businesses that don't have a friend high up in, Chase or B of A or Wells Fargo, how do you get that leg up, and why are these smaller institutions important?
Well, I think that as a small business owner, I think in COVID, it's causing us to rethink, restructure, regroup, and reboot on everything that we're doing and how we're doing it. When everything comes to a stop, it gives us time to think. There are a lot of small banks out there, smaller banks, that you will have a better access to a person that you're dealing with within that bank as a small business owner. So we need to rethink going forward, not for today, of course, but going forward, we need to rethink. We need to meditate. We need to really ask ourselves, what is going to be good for my business going forward? And should I go to a credit union or a smaller financial institution where I will get the respect? I may not put $5 million a week in payroll through your bank, but if I'm paying people a consistent $20,000 biweekly, that's a lot of money. And so an average small business with 10 employees, that's an average payroll. I've been in the payroll business for more than 25 years. That's an average payroll. So it's not the millions, but it's millions to us as small business owners.
Right.
And we deserve the same amount of respect. So smaller banks would be something that we should investigate going forward. And looking at this list of banks that they have said that they're giving funds to, it'll be a good start. See if you can develop relationships with those folks.
Okay, but for right now, Marie, as we set out, on this day, and I'm trying to figure out, how does it start at 7:30 when most banks don't open till 10? I mean, how does that work? And what's the first step? What do we do if we want to apply for these funds, or if we've already applied and we want another shot?
Well,
Dominique. One second, Cassandra. Cassandra, hold on. I want to let Marie answer, and then you can jump in.
Okay. Well, you have to make sure that, of course, you have a scheduled fee. And if you don't know what a scheduled fee is, you need to call a tax person or call my office. Independent contractor. You're working for yourself. You don't have employees, but you are working for yourself. You get a 1099. So if you are eligible, you're an independent contractor, you're self-employed, you have a scheduled fee, you are qualified, and you need to apply. And like Cassandra said, you can get the application from many of those small businesses, but this is a time and that we need to be proactive. We need to get on it and stay on it until we get it.
All right, Cassandra, go ahead. You were going to say, what's the first step? What do I do right now? And how does this work? I want to apply. It opens at 7:30. My bank opens at 10. How does that work?
The first thing that I would do, that I would suggest that a business owner do, is go to the small business website. Go to the small business website and identify the application and the process that the SBA has, which is an online process. Complete that process so that complete whatever the SBA is giving you to complete, and so that you're moving into that queue. Because that's the first thing that we can do. As you mentioned, online banking and those types of things, the banks may not be physically open until 9 o'clock, but those online applications could already be available. And so you want to jump on the online applications first. Whatever you can do online, you want to get that done. So that when the bank is open and available and you talk to them, you already have a confirmation number that you did something online.
Okay, so I just went on SBA.gov, which is where these particular loans are found. And it says loans, start or expand your business with loans, find lenders. So the first thing they do, I guess, is match you with a lender, right? That's what it looks like, if you don't already have one. Marie?
I am.
Yes.
So same thing. Go on SBA.gov and start filling out your application, and we'll find out what's next after that, I guess.
Yes, because you want to go on, you want to get those applications in queue. If you have a banking relationship with your bank, you want to go to the online portal for your bank. You want to complete whatever they're asking you to complete and get that in queue. So that's what we're going to have to do. If it's moving at 7 o'clock, we're going to have to do a little bit of research to know, to find out what is the next steps and what is the next steps in process. You mentioned earlier this morning to go to your site. I am going to go to the SBA site really quick.
Yeah, SBA.gov. Okay.
Yes,
we'll give you that when we get back. I got to take a break right here. We'll give you that information when we get back. We've got a link for you. We've got two experts here to answer your questions. If you have a small business, you're thinking about applying, or you applied and you were rejected, it's opening up again today. Get information right here. 520-KJLH, 520-5554. Just add an area code. We are broadcasting live from the KJLH 1-800 The Law 2 studios, Radio Free 102.3 KJLH and KJLHradio.com.